Hello, everybody.
Hello.
I'm Steve Lentini, and I'm the host for the podcast Different Thinking for Different Times, where we challenge small minded thinking that seems to be a human trait. And I know I still have it. I've done many years of work on it, and the brain doesn't go away. In fact, I call it the acorn brain. And I have another name for it called the little fucker that I share on this podcast because I suggest everybody name it. So that's what I named mine. And psychiatrists are recommending that. Dr. Daniel Amen, for example, named his brain Little Hermie after a rambunctious, troublesome pet raccoon he had as a teenager. So his brain reminds him of that troublesome, rambunctious raccoon. Dr. James Doty talks about that. Shirzad Shamin wrote the book Positive Intelligence, and he named his brain the executioner. Mine, thankfully, is not that loud, but it is certainly the little fucker, pardon my French, from time to time. Now, today, I have a most fascinating guest, and it's interesting that this is the 7th year of doing this podcast because I think 7 is a wonderful number. And we have Monika Kain, and she's going to tell you about her work. And it's fascinating because now listen, my brain said her work is a lot like my own, right? So I do also bring guests that challenge our thinking, and I think Monica's going to do that as well. She helps people stretch beyond what this brain suggests, that it's an acorn, it could be an oak, but it's got to get crushed open to become an oak tree and stomped into the ground. Hopefully not all of us have that as an option. So maybe we'll wake up with just a little help. And I think Monika can help. So without further ado, Monika Kain, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for your invitation, Steve. I'm so feeling grateful to be here with you today and just talk about life, about our experiences, about what we are so far found out, and call it like a little bit wisdom in the unknown already. Because I believe strongly wisdom is not only coming from any book we are reading and creating more knowledge in our brain, also happening real wisdom by experiencing it by yourself to get to know what it really means. Yeah, there are so many good talks and scientists and whatever, but you can just really catch it. That's what I experienced so far. If you get yourself in the same situation and know exactly how it feels, that's the thing. So when we align all the things you called it with your brain, and I call it also the mind, and to progress it, that it makes us as humans so special, it's the feeling, it's the emotion. And then you can really catch it and make different behavior or understand why we behave how we behave, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, understanding how we behave. I think that has been one of my challenges, or at least until I had my near-death experience over 23 years ago. And so I learned a lot, but it took life whacking me with a 2x4. And hopefully we can help people avoid that kind of learning. Maybe we can help people wake up. So how did you get to this work? Tell us a little bit about your background, how you got this work, because it is truly your passion. That I can share right away. And so go ahead, tell us about that, Monika.
Well, a lot of people are so much planned already, and they do know what they should do, and they already have their life plans. I don't know, with early childhood. I never had things like that, I'm honest now. The only thing what I experienced since I was really young was I had so much passion for people. I grew up on an organic farm with a multi-generational family household, and I was one of 4 kids getting raised there.
How many kids?
4. I have 3 brothers. And how can we create a life that gives us more joy, more happily being together? There was so much heaviness time-wise. On the other hand, we had quite a wonderful situations. And if I'm looking back and you would ask me, how was my childhood? I would say it was the perfect one. But
Mhm.
as you
Mhm.
also experienced in your life, sometimes things shows up and then you just start thinking, wow, why can't I feel joyful, happy, grateful in the moment? Why am I always so much forward in the, I don't know, 10-year future forecast, whatever, or 10 years in the past still, being
Mhm.
blocked with these experiences. And that's
Mhm.
why, long story short, why I'm here and why I'm doing that now is the passion and the love for people. An honest inspiration to just, looking at them, trying to understand why people acting so differently, why they feel so differently, and what's the output, what's the benefit of being here as a human being in this world at this time.
Mhm.
As you know, I also grew up then and made career in an industrial worldwide company, and I was making these career steps quite effective and fast, and I was fast learner and I had no troubles with that. But I also ended up one day sitting in my car, not able to move anymore, and my tears were just running off my face. And then I knew, okay, what's going on actually, If you can't move, if you are so frozen and paralyzed, even though your family needs to bring you out of the car and the doctor is coming and you're just, having this shutdown that is
Mm.
forcing you to really look at you at the moment
Mhm.
and making kind of a, I don't know how you say that. For you, it was for sure differently, but for me, it was like, okay, let's make a status quo. Where are you right now? What
Mhm.
do you want in your life? Because actually, what we know so far is we have this one life here as this person, as we are, as Monica and Steve. We don't know if there is reincarnation or not. Everybody believes in something different, but use
Mhm.
this one, use it
Mhm.
like it would be the best one that ever happened. And
Mhm.
then I had to start to understand what's actually blocking me, limiting from my real life, How do I want to live? What do I want to experience in my life? And how close or how far away am I actually?
Mhm. Mhm.
And that was kind of my start of my journey then, to understand more, because in my career I already came to people management, people development, all over the world. But it
Mhm.
always happened on this mind and brain focused side,
So, were you questioning your life at all until that moment, or did you have this moment where it sounds like you part of you shut down?
Well, honestly, looking back, there had been a lot of signs already, or,
Mhm.
situations and feelings. But, it's easy if you don't want to feel the feelings, you just
Mhm.
repress them, suppress them,
Mhm. Mhm.
and just
Mhm.
focus on what your mind is telling you, because the mind is so strong. And you said it also, isn't it? We are so trained with our mind that we believe everything is the mind.
Mhm. Mhm.
And with this shutdown, I just got open to really look at it. What is it? Is
Mhm.
it really the mind?
Mhm.
Because if we would know everything with the mind and we are so well trained already, we should be happy already, isn't it?
Right.
But it's not.
No, if it was that easy, you and I
Wow.
wouldn't have work.
See?
This is what we're meant to do. And so that was part of, it seems to me, and you tell me if this is way off or not. I know you will, Monica, that life itself was actually moving you with that event. It was like redirecting you. It was like a new course of the river, cutting in a new path.
Yes. And that's the thing, the worst experiences in life, and I call it this crisis, yeah?
Mhm.
If you look from a different perspective, it becomes your biggest gift.
Yeah. Yeah. What is the gift in this? right?
What
The
is the gift
question.
in this? And why
Yeah.
did I have to show up in this shit?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it
Yeah.
sounds
Well,
so
you were
weird.
on an organic farm, so shit is fertilizer, and
See?
we don't relate that to our lives. We don't want any shitty events in our lives. And that whole experience was really the beginning of a fertile ground for you.
And you said it. It's the thing, growing up on an organic farm, one value I'm carrying deep in my heart is also, it's about sustainability, you know? So
Mhm.
that you
Mhm.
are not doing anything that is just for you also, that you are not an ego, that you bring
Mhm.
everything in alignment. Doesn't matter if it's your environment, if it's animals, if it's people
Mhm.
together, because we are living all together in this beautiful world someone created for us, you know?
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
I grew up with my belief that you don't leave this world worse than you had the ability to come, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what is driving me still, because when I'm looking now to people, and I don't know how it's in America, but I can just tell you here in Austria, in Germany, in European countries, and I'm going anywhere, you know, and you want to look people into the eyes. It's quite hard, meanwhile, to find their eyes
Mhm.
because they're
Mhm.
anywhere, but not in the moment with you know? And
Mhm.
even
Mhm.
worse, if you just look a person into the eyes and say, hey, hello, it's wonderful to meet you. Just random people, you know, they
Mhm.
have really
Mhm.
troubles
It's
because they
true.
don't know how to react now, you know?
No. No. I met a guy some years ago who, when you said hello to him, he went like this, "Hello, hello." I mean, he actually blinked hundreds of times rather than stop and make eye contact. Fascinating, right? And that's what you're talking about, the reluctance for us to connect. And I think, and I'm going to ask you your thoughts about this. I think it's because our brain has us convinced we are right. Whatever we think is right. And so if we don't want to connect with someone, we're not going to connect with someone, because why make eye contact? The brain has us convinced of that, or whatever it is. It can convince us of so many stories,
Mm.
and so many of them are BS. And I'll be kind and say that's belief systems, but it can also be BS. And we have to question those thoughts. So you were obviously in the midst of questioning everything. And then what did that lead you to? And I know the answer to it, but I want you to tell the story.
You know, at that time, it led me to, on the outside, my life looked so amazingly successful, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And on the inside, I felt empty.
Mm-hmm.
I had no connection anymore with this brain and this cold heart, you know. Now I have it here also. But
Mm-hmm.
at that time, I had a
Mm-hmm.
brain, I had a body. I was trained so perfectly because I loved to move myself. I still do, but not in that extent anymore, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I had no alignment with everything. And I did not even know what is the full potential when we call it now, you know, it also, you know, in business life, use your full potential, blah 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 blah. Sorry, I'm now a little bit too much into that blah blah, but
No, that's what it is.
yeah. And everybody's just focused on the skills, you know, and soft skills and hard skills. And if you do that better, and if you get that better, and you make any feedback loops with any important people, you become better and they know what you should do, you know, because this is how it works in the world. And I was all part of that, but I never felt aligned, you know. And the more I was in
Mm.
this world, I realized I can't find myself anymore. Somewhere I get lost. You know? I got
Mm.
lost. And this
Mm-hmm.
wonderful real shit crisis remembered me again.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, there's so much more. If we are really talking about true potential, it's everything we have within us, you know? It's not you
Mm-hmm.
need to find it anywhere on the outside. You just need to go and be your detective on yourself, and how to align it together, that it all these puzzle pieces and all the different levels you have inside yourself, doesn't matter if it's the body, if it's the mind, if it's the emotional level, and also our spiritual level, if you align it, then you feel it, and then you express it also on the outside. That's your full potential, but it's such a hard way to find it. And that's kind of funny, because nowadays, and it also, if we look into, I don't know, LinkedIn or the online world, and you tip in anything, there, I don't know, are millions of people who tell you how fast you can get super happy and you're so fulfilled and abundant and whatever, But those who really made this experience knows it's not. How can it be? It's not a miracle, It's
No,
it's a
no.
journey. It's a
Yeah.
journey.
It's not to pick and choose the things that feel only good. It's to recognize that sometimes when life is pressing down on us the hardest, which is what you went through, that's where the gift is on the other side of that. That if we can look at all of life as a gift, and this brain wants us to easily look at the good things, and it's defined what's good or bad, right? It's and that's a challenge for most people, because the brain defines good or bad. It doesn't mean it is good or bad, right? It's like the old Sufi tale. The old Sufi tale was maybe good, maybe bad, who knows? That was what the farmer always replied to his neighbors who had ideas about what was good or bad. And so what you went through brought you to a new beginning. And you mentioned, even though you were doing very well at the work you were doing, you didn't feel fulfilled. So then what happened, right? And what's it led to for you? Because I know part of that story, and we've talked about it, and I this is important to share with my audience.
Yes. So definitely, first of all, I had to go to the doctor after a couple of days, and my doctor just said, like, because I said, yeah, well, I'm not feeling good, but I should be at work soon, because there are a lot of, so-called important appointments and events again. And the doctor was just sitting there, and she said, no, you will not. For sure, the next 2 and 3 weeks, you will just focus on yourself, and I give you one address. And it was an address of a yoga teacher coming from India, originally living just half an hour by car close to my hometown. And she said, and you just go there. And at that time, I was like highly sportive. I was running up and climbing up the mountains early in the morning at 5:30 to come into the office afterwards with high snow, It was no problem. But anybody telling me doing yoga, it was for me like, what shall I do with this yoga, I'm too young for that shit. Let's call it like that, yeah. But looking back at that time, I knew something is not working out well, And at that time, I said, okay, I will go, whatever, You don't know, maybe it's helping. And I went there, and I have done just small little tiny movements, and she told me a lot about the really deeper knowledge of yoga, and I got introduced in a completely different world to this world I had, and I was fascinated, And the more I came to it, and it took me for sure time, because you're still in this old system. You start to change, you have a new beginning, but you're still in your same hometown, you're still in the same company. And it's some time to become courage enough then to just allow yourself to get more and more aware. And that's the first step, who you really are, and blocking you, And that's the first step. The second step, even more hard, is to accept it.
Very true. So is that what your work is today, helping people find their true path?
And then that's what I'm doing right now. But it led me also life, showed up again. Finally, after, I don't know, half a year or was it a year, I knew I need to leave. I need to leave the work I was doing because all environment and all these wonderful things they tell you, on these wonderful walls that everybody's so important and human beings are the biggest potential. But if you are working behind the scenes, that's actually not everywhere true. It started to become an even greater conflict to me because I got my heart back, and then I could not suppress these feelings and I did not want it anymore,
So you really had to feel the disconnect in
Yes,
order to make the change. And are you finding that similar for the people you're working with? Are they
definitely.
going through some, what would the word be? Are they going through some dark night of the soul?
Yeah. You need to walk in the footsteps of the dark night to see the light
Mm-hmm.
again. And then you need
Mm-hmm.
to make the choice as soon as you know that. You need to
Mm-hmm.
make a choice which path you are joining.
Well, and it doesn't happen overnight because you just said that after what you went through and then taking some 3 or 4 weeks off, it still took, I think you said almost a year before you left that work,
To be that
your job,
courage
right?
enough to really step out of these shoes, Because what happens in this half a year and year is, and now we come to your work you do also, is to really start to challenge your brain, your value system, everything that
Mhm,
is there, who's telling you what you should do, how you should feel, and
mhm,
really to connect with you again, to allow yourself just to open it up and allow yourself to see, is it really aligning with me? Or
mhm,
is it something I got to learn how I should be?
mhm, mhm.
And that process
Very true.
takes time still.
Yeah, yeah. It takes time, and it's to embrace that as well, that that's all part of getting to where we're supposed to be in terms of our purpose.
Definitely.
And to feel aligned, because I remember owning this license for a national sales training program. And when I first purchased it, I thought that was mine to do. And after a few years, I knew that wasn't what was mine to do, but it was a feeling in here. And in fact, I think I told you I would have daydreams where I'd be on a train going this way, and then I'd have a vision of a train coming the other way, and I'd be on it. I would see myself on it, which was confusing at the time. It was like, what? Am I on the wrong track? Is that what life is telling me? And as I thought about it, I said, you know what? I am. My brain said, how are you going to do this? How are you going to leave this license? Who's going to buy your work, Steve Lentini? And how became a problem when, and it took a near death experience to learn, forget how wasn't my job.
Mm.
And it all came about in very different ways other than what the brain would have said. The brain would have said, oh, let's get a big client and then you can jump into your work. It didn't turn out that way. It was a little bit of work and other kind of work that was all mine. I had clients call me while I was in the hospital, not knowing I was in the hospital, saying, hey, Steve, when can we have you come out and speak? And I said, I'm in the hospital. Okay, what's going on? So when I told them, they said 4 or 5 said, why don't you come to work for us? It doesn't sound like you'll be able to start this work again, because it was extremely difficult health challenges. And so I had 5 job offers while I'm sitting in the hospital, 5. And I thought, okay, this is God or the universe telling me, do this in a different way. And so what it became was work for a client as a contractor, 1099. And I told them I need a few days to do my own work every week. And they said, fine. The answer was yes, 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 only when I stepped out and embraced that knock on the door from the universe, which is, I think, what you're defining that occurred to you, that you had that knock on the door. So where I left off, and you tell me, was asking you that the way things showed up, did they all match your picture, and how long did it take you, and what other things did you experience along the way once you made this decision and transitioned out of corporate work?
Well, I would say, looking back, it was I trusted in life in a way. And it all brought me to things I never would have thought about it. Just by an example, when I had the courage to really resign in the company and to say and stand up for myself and say, well, guys, it was a beautiful experience, but now it's time for me to walk on my own journey, and I want to really help people and also organizations who really focus on the human being, because that's what I believe is the biggest and only potential you have in any company at all, because we have this beautiful combination of a brain, of a heart, and of a body that makes everything work, but it needs to be aligned. And we can't just not choose, yeah, we want this, but we don't want this because, we are not living with emotional people, blah, blah. And that's where I stood up for myself, and on the same time for all of the people I knew in these companies who would suffer a lot because they were treated scarcity, and it's easy to lead people if you always push them down and just, act like this or this.
Well, scarcity is fear-based,
Yeah,
right?
sure.
Is that so? That's what you experienced with some of the leaders and people you've come across to help? They were being manipulated with fear-based coercion or leadership?
That's the
Wow.
thing, and if you don't need to look very far away, and that also, if we look also to our global systems and things like that, you can easily see, as soon as you're working in this world, you can easily see that there's just a few people and human beings who really lead by example, who lead by fulfillment of human beings, yeah? Because it would mean, and that's the thing, that would mean that you, by a leader, are really aligned with yourself, are really feeling good about yourself from the inside, lead by example, and really give people all the things, the resources they need, that they flourish and come into you need to manipulate anybody at all. You do not even have the idea to do that, why should you? And that's what
It's true.
and then after
And what has your experience been? Yeah, go ahead. After? Yeah.
And after I left the company and also, stepping out in my hometown and becoming more the person I am, I just started to travel because I love human beings. And I was so fascinated also to get to know different kinds of life models, how they deal with each other, how to build up relationships in different religions, different cultures. This me, yeah. And then some projects I was working already with companies, and I could make myself free time, because I got myself employed. So that was the benefit. And then I came there without any plan to go to any Asian countries, but I landed there, and I finally went to Bali once, and there I met my future husband. You would have asked me, I don't know, 20 years before, I could tell you that was never on my plan. So, and I fell in love also with this culture, with this religion, different kinds of religions, because Indonesia is actually the country with the most different religions living in one country and a lot of different islands, So I started to also, it's not only analyze, but experience how can that be possible, and that they live together in peace, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is like the one side of the gold medal, and this is the other side, duality. And so I started at the ability to combine and get a holistic view of life, and how
Mm-hmm.
it can be. And that the most important thing is that you really got to know and have a passion for the one who is in front of you. And this one could need completely different things than the other
Sure.
one. And that's why it's not possible to make one program for everybody fits. And that's the beauty of it.
Well, and it sounds like you challenged your own thinking, and that all those events, you allowed them to challenge your thinking as opposed to deciding, well, I'm right and they're wrong. Right? How could they have all these other faiths, right? That's what the brain would suggest. And you allowed that to seep into your mind and challenge what you had already assumed or your brain had, right? So how are you using that experience in your work, and how can people reach you as well for your work, and what does that look like? A little bit of what your work helps people with and how you've helped people. Maybe you have a story, but start with maybe that, what your work is doing and how you're helping people and what you've seen.
Well, when I started to make my own company, I started also with the tools I had available at that time there and my knowledge and my wisdom at that time. But after these 8 years now already, so many things happened and I got into complete new tools and knowledge also, so that the mind is actually not only the things we can talk about. This is just 9%. So we always just work on the surface things. What we actually don't know, and why we still come back all the time in this transformation or change, is because we are not tackling the root causes why we behave how we behave. And that's 90%. It lays in our subconscious, That's where all of our beliefs are, patterns there, automatism there. And I became also a hypnosis coach meanwhile, so to really tackle people and really work with them on their deepest triggers,
What's holding them back?
Yes,
subconsciously.
yes. So it's like if you're working now with me, it becomes so, I don't know, colorful in a way, because what everybody needs, someone is ready for that. And, we are like onions.
Very true. Yeah, we have many layers.
What this person needs and how this person is ready to do it. And, we also, both of us, we are also still on our journey. And I think that's the most important thing, that people also knows we are not that gurus who are already on this throne sitting there talking about how life's supposed to be, Yes, we are still also on this journey of a human being, yeah?
Yeah.
Maybe we are just some meters in front of it, yeah? But sometimes
And
life happens again.
that's a great point, because I tell my clients to this day, I haven't found the way. And if I ever tell you I found the way, run away.
Yeah.
And then please, in a few weeks, call me back and see if I regained my sanity, because each of our journeys is as unique as our fingerprints. And my journey is no one else's business. And your journey and all others' journeys are none of my business. They're sacred.
Yes.
For us to respect them. And we see today, especially in social media, people railing against each other. What I say is, who cares? One of my profiles on the X platform says, I do not respond to people. I do not care what you think. And you don't have to care what I think. I'm not going to respond. And I'd say that I'm a no BS coach and a BS pundit. So I call out what I think is small-minded thinking. It fits with my work. And I do not want to reply. I don't want to comment, and I don't read them. I never go in to read comments on my social media, because I don't care. And to your point, right, that's each journey is unique.
That's it.
And we haven't found the way. You haven't found the way. I haven't found the way. Yeah.
And if you say so, and coming to the point back, I strongly believe what we said also in the beginning is it's just the moment that counts.
Yeah.
And what I experienced so far is every human being is looking for connection, you know, and for belonging. And social media is nice, yeah, but it's also, you know, you're so far away from each other, even though it seems you're so close to everybody else. And there's so much disconnection to everything. And
it's giving people permission to have diatribes and reactions and hatred, and it's not healthy to read people's replies. That's why I don't care, and I never did. It's fascinating. My brain never was curious about what someone else thought. If so, to your point, right, that's what's unhealthy about social media, because there's distance, so people don't see the impact of their diatribes when they rail against someone. Why? Who cares? Let them have their opinion.
and combined with AI, it's becoming really like bombs, because you
It's
bring
true.
people into complete fear again, insecurity. And now when we come to the point, what I'm doing is actually, to sum it up, I bring people back into their own security, that they are someone, that they can and should believe in themselves, what they feel, what they think, what they feel on their physical side, what they catch on spiritual side. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm helping to guide them through transformations where they get lost in any way. And I'm doing that not only on individual side, I'm doing that for companies who want to be different. And I strongly believe that within the next years, they will need to, because if you look at the world right now, something is definitely not working out for a lot of people from us. Few of them, it's working out really well. You should start to think about it. But that's what I recommend. And everybody needs to feel it anyway, because I'm not a person who will be found easily on the first run. Or let's say it like that. If people want to do something but don't know if they should, usually they're not coming to me on the first run. They try out a lot of different things before. But they will come when they tried out a lot of things before and end up in similar topics, similar patterns again, because they realize this is nothing sustainable, you know? And
so part of your work, you mentioned hypnotherapy is part of your work. And tell us about your work, and then how can people find you? How can they reach you?
So actually what I'm doing in my work is I'm working with people who really want something different from their life or with their companies. So actually I'm focusing on people who are taking on a lot of responsibilities, because I believe if you get healed or if you get better as one who's carrying a lot of responsibilities, and if you work on yourself like a leader or a founder or whatever, you know, or parents, you know, easy, something for yourself, you heal the whole system you carry. Yeah. And they, even though they suffer, they will be healed in a different way, you know, because to act differently, you start to feel differently, you start to think differently. And this is nothing you will have overnight. No, there's some kind of a journey you walk together. And I don't know, call me coach or guide or consultant, what most similar, because I give this person what this person needs right now. I target for everybody. I walk together, you become independent again. I'm just walking with you as long as you need my hand. But my target is that you stand up afterwards and say, thank you. Now I can walk on my own, and I'm not going to let you be depending on me, because this is not fulfilling in any way, you know? So finding me, yeah, of course, you find me on social medias because you need to be.
We have to overcome. That's
See,
our job.
that's the thing, and nothing is perfect in this world, so that's good.
No. Yeah, it is good. So, how do people find you?
Yeah. Well, locally and present between Austria and Bali, because we still try to give our small children the possibility to experience both worlds.
Yeah. Yeah.
And generally, I'm working worldwide. So if someone needs something, I can go there either by present or I'm doing that online. So my work is also very effective online. And I'm doing individual team sessions, corporate sessions, workshops. And lately I'm working a lot with couples and families. Very fulfilling. Honest experience so far is even the biggest general manager or leader has a life, you know, and quite often this life falls short.
Somewhere, yeah.
Yeah, the it's more important, or it becomes more important as soon as it falls short, to
Yeah.
realign again what's really important, you know, and that's
Yeah.
quite often happening now. And I think it's a beautiful, how to say it? I think it's beautiful to experience it, how it turns now, you know, in a way. Get to know what's important. And if you want to
Yeah.
reach out for me, you can easily find me via Google to just put my name inside, you know, Monika Kain with AI. It's like a Bible name from Kain and Abel.
And it's spelled Kain, Monika Kain. And Monica with a K, Monika, and Cain, Kain, like Cain and Abel.
Yes, that's where I
Yeah.
came from,
Yeah. But
obviously.
she's not Cain, at least not in the Abel sense.
No, no.
She's Monica Cain. And I can tell you that she has a presence that will help ground you and help you find that part that you think you're searching for, but it's actually the reason you're going through some of the feelings you're going through it's your brain and your heart and your subconscious urging you to change and to find this new path. And Monica can help you find it with her grounded presence and her willingness to share her experience and what she went through and the gift was that she found in that challenge that she went through. So I highly recommend that you reach out to Monica. And if you're going through the dark night of the soul or what seems to be that, know there's a gift in it. And typically it's time to ask for help for someone to help us find it. Someone looking on the outside can see things we cannot see, at least in my experience. I had a lot of people telling me to get rid of that license for the national sales training and telling me, Steve, do your own work. And so they were shouting at me to do my own work. And inside my head was, how you ever going to do your own work? Don't listen to those people. And when I did, when I surrendered and listened, I found the gift.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not always going to be easy. There'll still be challenges. It's
That's
just that it,
beautiful ending you said, because it's all about our ego, isn't it?
yeah,
Is
yeah,
how to deal with it and looking a little bit behind the scenes why our ego is like our ego is, isn't it? And
yeah,
the thing is also what you said, looking for help and asking for help is a lot of times the biggest challenge at all, because that means,
very vulnerable.
yes, and from vulnerability there comes love, you know,
Yeah,
finally.
yeah. Well, and we have this idea that love is loving someone or someone loving us in the human fashion. And when I transitioned from my body, I experienced the unconditional love of pure consciousness, as Deepak Chopra calls it. I felt like I was home in an instant. And what I realized was, and not until I got back in my body later in intensive care, because it was quite a sequence of events that there was no past or future, and I couldn't tie them together until I got back in my body. But it was quickly this: I experienced the light and pure love in the now. Then there was a life review, and only the lives I had touched flashed before me, including people I smiled at. And then I was asked a question: stay or go? And my consciousness surrendered. And I'm embarrassed to say I was 50. I don't think I ever surrendered fully like that until my consciousness answered that question with "Thy will be done." And I was right back in intensive care with the same two friends at the end of my bed who witnessed the fact that I flatlined. And love is in the moment, and to embrace everything and everyone that's part of it, because you experience it for a reason. It's part of the unconditional love that we return to. Now, what we return to is without the experiences that bother us and bug us. But for me, the people that have bothered me and bugged me the most became the greatest gifts. And some are my very good friends today because they were willing to risk my wrath. Some come in and out of life to bother us, like a little knock on the cranium, and some come to stay because they're there to guide us. Like
and not
Monika.
only in a good way, sometimes they guide us through our shadow sides. We just don't want to look at it, and they became angels afterwards.
Yes. Yeah. The ones that are willing to risk our wrath sometimes are the angels. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
All right, so everyone, please consider Monika Kain if this resonated for you, because what we work on is an attraction basis. We don't work on pushing ourselves or selling ourselves. The right people find us and they show up in our lives. So that's how Monika and I met, by chance on a networking event that someone invited us to, and we decided that maybe we have a connection and that we share a similar path, and somehow the universe conspired to put us together. So look for Monika Kain. Now, do you have a website?
Yes, I have. It's www.moka-consulting.
moka-consulting.at.
Yes.
Script screen. Okay, I'll make sure that I find it, Monika. But in the invite, I have OKA.
MOKA. Mocha, like the coffee mocha.
Yeah. Dash consulting.
Yes. Yes. Perfect.
www.moka-consulting.at. I'll make sure it ends up in the notes.
All right. Perfect. Okay.
All right, Monika.
It was such a great time, and stay in the present. This 1 hour passed by so fast again, like the last time.
It did.
And
I'm grateful.
Very grateful being here with you.
I'm grateful that you were a guest with me. And then let's make sure we stay in touch and find ways to help each other. I'm glad to help.
Definitely. Thank you so much from deep of my heart.
You're welcome. I'm grateful. A good day. Thank you, Monika. Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.